All right, guys, so looking at the review sheet that you have out, we're going to look at the first page, problems 1 through 4 first. Are there any questions on 1, 2, 3, or 4? Any questions how to do any of those there? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Any questions on 1 through 4? No? Because naming points, we're just naming any point, so this could be what? P, M, or N. We just need to name 3 points that are in that diagram. Naming 2 lines, M, N, A, Z. Now, if you put M, N with a line above it and N, M with a line of it, you would only get half of it. Because it says what? Name 2 lines. M, N, and M, N is the same line, so how many lines did you name? One. You renamed one line. It says name what? Name 2 lines, so we need 2 lines. This is 2 names for a line. This is 2 lines. So there's a difference between them. Name plain D in 2 ways. So it's just picking 3 letters. So plain D, M, N, P. Or we could say N, P, M, or just any combination of those 3 letters. And the main thing with naming a plane is that the 3 letters cannot be on the same line. Now, if you name the plane and you just said plane MN, it would be wrong because we need 3 letters to name a plane. 3 letters to name a plane. Now, naming plane B would be the same thing. It's just we would use 3 points from plane B. So if we want to name line Q in 2 other ways, one way would be OP, and the other is PO. Would I get credit if I put line Q down? Well, it is the name of the line, but what does it say? It says in 2 other ways, or 2 different ways. Does that make sense? Because it's already listed. It wants 2 other ways to name it. 6, name the ray in 2 ways. Well, we could say AB, AC, or that's about it. BC, I may or may not take it because it is naming a ray, but it's not naming the whole ray because B to C is different. Now, if you do BA or CA, either one of these here, that's going to be wrong because that's not a ray. That would just be a line segment. So the order of these and the way that the arrow points matters because it's starting at A and going through B. It's starting at A and going through C. So that's important how it's set up and how the arrow is drawn. Any questions on any of this so far? Give 2 names for the line segment. EZ and ZE, and we do a line segment above it to signify that it is a line segment. Yes? All right. Name 3 collinear points. Collinear, JBK. It just means 3 points that are on the same line. Line's right in there, isn't it? Collinear. There's a line right in the word. It's just talking about a line, same line. Coplanar. Hey, look, plane. 3 points that are on the same plane. JBK, I mean, aren't they all on the same plane? Does it matter that they're on a straight line on the plane? No, it's just saying 3 points on the plane. If I'm naming it, they can't be on the same line. But if I'm just wanting 3 points that are on the same plane, that's fine. We could also have C, C. So D would be the plane itself. K does work, yes. So those would work. So J, B, K, and C are all on the same plane. A is not on the plane. Nope. Name one point that is not coplanar to the points in question number 9. Point A, because it's not on the plane. It's drawn, it is above it. Questions on this here? We good with this here? Name two pairs of opposite rays. Well, one opposite ray would be AM and AN. MA would not work because opposite rays are two rays that go in opposite direction. AQ and AP would be the other set. Now with opposite rays, the endpoint for both of them will be the same. It should be the same. Because if we tried MA, I would need a way to name it going, because I would name it this way. I don't have a way to name it going the opposite direction. I don't have a way to name it going the opposite direction. So we have to use A on all of these because that's the center of all the rays going out. Questions on number 11? We good with number 11? Okay, looking at number 12. Are there questions on 12? Because what do we do? Yep, find the length of AB. The whole thing's 24. Part of it's 13. We can do 24 minus 13 and get 11. Because really what we're saying is x plus 13 equals 24. We would subtract 13 from both sides and get x equals 11. CH, 31, because we're doing what? 10, 21, because the two parts add together to give you the whole. Two parts add together to give you the whole. Find the length of JK given J is a segment bisector. Well, if J is a segment bisector, it means it cuts the line in half. So since it's cut in half, it means 2x plus 7 is equal to 4x plus 3, because those two segments are equal. They have the same measure. So then we have to solve for x. And I'm going to subtract 2x to get the x's on the same side, because 2x minus 2x cancels out, giving me 7 is equal to 4 minus 2x gives me 2x plus 3. Then we can subtract 3 from both sides, telling me that 4 is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2, and we get 2 is equal to x. Yes. Any questions on how we found the value of x? We good with that there? Yes? Now to find the actual answer, we have to plug it back in, so we can do 2 times 2 plus 7. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 7 is, and we wanted to know what? I think it was JK. So JK equals 11. Excuse me, 11. So on the answers, when you write this in or write down your answer, so the whole thing would be 22, but the main answer we just want is this here. So I'd write JK equals 11. I'd signify what the length is. Because if it asked for both, so it wanted JK and AK, it wanted 2, writing just 11 and 22, I might take it, but I'd like to have it specified which is which. Okay? Questions on this here? So this here is the exact same thing as what we just did on the previous one, because again, segment bisector cuts it in half. It cuts it in half. Do we need to see this one here? We good with this one here? Yeah. 36. Yep, 36, 18, x is 3. Questions? All right, let's move on. 16 through 18. Find the midpoint of the line AB. Midpoint. If you do not have the midpoint formula written down, you need to write it down. X1 plus X2 over 2 and Y1 plus Y2 over 2. Because again, you're going to be allowed to use this review sheet on the test. So having this written down is going to be helpful. So if I'm just wanting the midpoint, we're taking the two X values of the point, adding them together and dividing by 2. Then we're taking the two Y values, adding them together and dividing by 2. Now really at this point here, you can plug this in a calculator because we've got them up there on the wall. You can type in so the fraction key, -3 plus 3 over 2, hit enter, and it'll tell you that it's 0. Because -3 plus 3 is, divided by 2 is still 0. We can do 4 plus 8, which is 12, divided by 2 is 6. So the midpoint for number 16 is 0, 6. Questions on this here? We can do 17, and 17, well, let's just do 18 since I have more space down here. It'd be -2 plus -2 over 2, and 3 plus 7 over 2. Well, -2 plus 2 is -4 over 2. 7 plus 3 is 10. And if we divide those two, we should get -2 comma 5. Questions on this here? We good with this here? Yes? Yes? So really what are we using? We're using the formula and plugging in our values of X, plugging in the values of Y, and simplifying. Now finding the other endpoint. This was one of the harder ones out of finding midpoint and distance formula. So we have to use our midpoint formula. Because what it's telling me, the midpoint M, the X value at the midpoint is 0. One of the X values at the endpoint is 4. We don't know what the other one is. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it up like this here. And our first step is going to be to multiply both sides by 2. This 2 and this 2 cancels, leaving us with 4 plus X equals 0. Because anything times 0 is still 0. Then we do what? Get X by itself. So I'm going to do that by subtracting 4 from both sides. And I get X is equal to -4. We're halfway done. Because we found the X value, now we need to find the Y value of the endpoint. So we're going to set it up similarly. Because we're told that the Y value of the midpoint is 0, because midpoint was 0, 0. We're told one of the Y values is 7, but we're not told what the other one is. We're going to do the same steps. We're going to multiply both sides by 2 and get 7 plus Y is equal to, well, 0, because again, anything times 0 is still 0. And then we're going to subtract 7 from both sides, which gives us Y is equal to -7, X is equal to -4. -4 comma 7 is the other endpoint. Questions on this here? Any questions on anything we've done so far? No? We're good with this here? Yes? Yes, sir?
The one that you circled on the bottom didn't have the negative, so.
Okay. Yep. So we're good with this here. Yes? Now for midpoint, the ones that we just did in these here, could they be decimal numbers? Could we have decimal answers?
Yes.
Well, yeah, there's nothing that prevents us from having decimals. We can have positive, negative, decimals, fractions, any of these here. Okay? So if you want to put it as a fraction, that's fine. If you want to put it as a decimal, that's fine. I will take any version of the answer as long as it's the correct answer, okay? I don't care how it's written as long as it is the correct answer.
Wait a second. Well, why was the 7 not -7?
Oh, it should be negative. It should be negative. It is -7. I just didn't write it down. Yeah, no, it's -4, -7. Y'all need to see another example of finding the endpoint. We good with this here? Okay. Finding the distance. If you don't, again, same thing with midpoint. The distance formula. If you don't have that written down on the sheet somewhere, on your review sheet somewhere, I'd write it down. Because again, finding the distance formula, you're just plugging it in. You're going to plug it into the calculator, and the calculator is going to give you your answer. So when you type it into the calculator, you set it up. I would set it up. A lot of these here, I would set it up. So midpoint, I would set them up, okay? Just in case you type something in wrong. Okay, I do partial credit, because if you set this up and got 2, I don't know how you would get 2, but you might. It might be possible. Because y'all already know that's not the correct answer, yes? It's not 2. But because, again, we did x's, subtracted, y subtracted, okay. You will get credit for doing it, but you will lose points for not being the right answer. That's fine, but you do get partial credit. Now, if you just wrote the number 2, you're going to lose all points for that problem because there is no work, yes? So writing it down will help you. Now, at this point here, you can type the whole thing into the calculator. And if you type it in, what do we get?
Square root of 698.
Square root of 698? Yes, you all agree with that? I mean, if not, you do have the review sheet for the answer key, yes. Or you can put it as a decimal. Yes, sir.
So I had negative 698, and then when I square root it, I just.
So one of the things I'd make sure is to put parentheses around these. Because what you're going to get is 7 minus 20 is going to be negative 13 plus negative 23 squared. And if you don't put the parentheses around it, it's going to give you the wrong answer. Because negative 13 times negative 13, a negative and a negative make a positive. So without these parentheses around it, it gives you a negative. Because the calculator sees it as, without the parentheses, it almost thinks of it as this negative 13 squared. So it's not squaring the negative. Does that make sense? So as long as the x's are together, the y's are together, we're great. Because again, whenever we square a number, it's always positive, yes? So literally you can type, I would just type that thing right there as it is. Don't care about signs, anything, to get your answer. And so if we looked at, say, this one here, 24, like I could do 9/2 minus negative 9 squared plus 7 minus negative 2 squared. And I'll type the negative or minus a negative in there. That's fine. The calculator knows that a negative, minusing a negative is the same as adding it. Yes? Huh? You can, because this is number 24. And then you can just type it straight into the calculator as it is. So parentheses, fraction 9 over 2 minus negative 9 squared plus 7 minus negative 2 squared. 16.2249. I'd go out at least 2 or 3 spots if you're going to do a decimal. Go out at least 2 or 3. So I'll take it as a decimal, I'll take it as a radical, I don't care, as long as it's the right answer. Any questions on any of this so far? We good with this here? Yes? Negative 13? No, that's just this one simplified. That was just that one worked out. That was just 22 being worked out step by step. Does that answer your question there? Okay.
I had it wrote down here.
Yeah, no, I just didn't have space to write underneath it. Now, looking at this one here, 25 through 27, name the polygon based off the number of sides and determine if the polygon is convex or concave. What's this one going to be here? Well, this is concave, yes? Let's count the sides. Now, I normally mark one of the sides so I know where I start. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I'll get around and forget which line I started with. So I'll give myself a reminder, okay, I'm starting at this side here. 1, 2, or you can number them, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a nonagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is convex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would be dodecagon, and this is concave. Yes? Yes, sir.
Sorry, you just say like the number gone.
So, did we have anything after 12? No, it just stopped at 12, wasn't it? 13 gone, 14 gone, 15 gone. We really don't use anything after 12 for polygons. And yes, there are terms for stuff bigger than 12. Because we have trillion, trillion, 2 illion. Because billion, trillion, quadrillion, quad 4, quintillion, and it just goes up from there. Question?
What are we gonna do if we don't finish this?
We're going to keep rolling. Let's keep going. So name the angle in 3 ways. So when we name the angle, because each one of these here has how many angles with it? 1. There's only 1 there, yes? Yeah, you're good. There's only 1 here, so that means I could name it by the number or the vertex, yes? Well, there's 2 ways down, yes? Well, what's another way? Or angle. The vertex for the angle has to be in the middle when we use 3 letters. The vertex has to be in the middle. If the vertex is on either side, that's not the correct way to name it. So this one over here we could say is angle J, angle 4, angle KJL, or angle LJK. Because we just start on one of the sides, KJL, LKJ, 4, and angle J. If the number's not there, we just use angle J, angle KJL, LJK. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. Find the measure of each angle. ABC, well, that's the combination of both of these angles here, yes? So we just add them together, 49 and 57, 106 degrees. Here I'm told LMO is 67 and NMO is 27, so I need to do what? 67 minus 27, which gives me 40, because again, those 2 angles add together to give me the whole angle, so I can subtract them. Questions on 31 or 32? 33. This is a straight line, yes? So these two angles add up to be? So I can just subtract 130 from x is 50. Find the measure. Now this here is 91 degrees. It is 91 degrees. On the test, if you have questions, if it's 91 or 9.1, ask. I will clarify that. I will clarify it. Because it just, I think I rechanged the number. Yeah, I changed the number for it. 50. Since it told us that ABC, the entire angle is 91, it means those two smaller angles add together to give me the whole. Yes? We're going to combine like terms. Because 2x and 3x will give me 5x. 4 minus 3 is 1. So at this point here, we can subtract 1 from both sides. And we get 5x is equal to 90. Divide both sides by 5, and we get x is equal to 18. Now to find the angles, we've got to just plug it back in. So we'll do 2 times 18 minus 3. Well, 2 times 18 is 36. Minus 3 is 33. So that's for DBC. Three times 33 plus 4, not 33, 18. 3 times 18 plus 4. 3 times 18 will be 54, yes. Plus 4 is 58. And make sure when you put the numbers in, because most of them I gave you spaces for the answers, put it in the right one. Don't flip them. I will mark it wrong. If you flip the 33 and 58, you put them in the other spots. Questions on this here? If you don't put these two here? No. Nope. I will not count it wrong. As long as you get the right number. Looking at this here, I don't even have to do any of the calculations to find one of these here. Which one do I not have to do anything to find? MNP, because MNP is 90. This here is 90 degrees. It told us. Now again, we're doing the same thing of what we just did. 3x minus 10 plus 2x minus 4 equals 90. We'll combine like terms. 3x and 2x is 5x. Huh? Well, because if we add 14 to both sides, we get 5x equals 104. Divide both sides by 5, x is equal to 20.8. 2, 10, 4, can't go into it, 0. Yep. So 20.8. So 3 times 20.8 minus 10. Well, 3 times 20.8 is what? Minus 10 is 52.4. And so that's for MNO. So MNO is 52.4. ONM is the same one, isn't it? Now, at this point here, we can go on and plug in 20.8 8 into the other equation. But what do we know about these two? They add up to be,
90, so like,
so we can subtract it from 90. 6, 3, 7, 6. I believe the other one should be 37.6. 2 times 20.8 will be 41.6 minus 4 is 37.6. Yep. So we do get all of those there. Questions on these here? We good with these here? Yes? All right. We're still going good on time. Use the figure to answer the questions. This figure right here. Vertical angles, 2 pairs of vertical angles. Well, 5 and 8. 7 and 6. Because when we have 2 lines crossing, we're going to have 2 sets of vertical angles. But it's just 2 lines. Now the top one here only has one, angle 4 and angle 2. Because of that line that split up 1 and 3, that gave us angles 1 and 3, and messed it up. We won't have another one for that one.
how do you know which numbers for what line?
Huh?
How do you know which numbers for which line?
Which numbers for which line? Because it's inside, so angle 5 is this angle right there. Angle 6, so this is 6, this is 8, this is 7, this is 5. Because it's labeled right there, it tells us that it's 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that your question?
Nope.
What are you talking
Like, isn't one of them for each, like, line? Or?
No, it's naming the angle. Those numbers are for the angles, they're not for the lines. Because we would use points to name lines, we use these numbers here to name the angles. So we can use a number inside of the angle right there at the vertex to name the angle. So we're not worried about the naming of the lines here. Because here we're wanting to name vertical angles. The other part we want to name linear pairs. So 2 angles that make a straight line. 5 and 6. 5 and 7. 7 and 8. 8 and 6. 2 and 9. 9 and 4, and then that's it. Because again of that line that split that one angle into 1 and 3, it prevents those from being linear pairs. Any questions on this here? All right, so 38 and 39. Again, remembering what supplement or supplementary angles and complementary angles is important. 2 angles are supplementary if they add up to be what? 180. Supplementary is 180. So we're saying 3 plus angle 5 equals, we're told that angle 5 is 41. So what do we need to do? I need to subtract 41 from 180. And if I subtract 41 from 180, I find out that angle 3 is 139. Yes? Okay. Complement means that they add up to be 90. And we're told angle 6 is 26. So at this point here, we would subtract 26 from 90 and get 64 degrees, yes? Any questions on these here? You good with these here? Yes? No question on either one of these? Awesome. For problems 40 through 42, use the figure, and QS is an angle bisector. It means it cuts it in half. PQR, PQR, so the whole angle is 122. So if we cut it in half, PQS and SQR are both 61 degrees. That's it. That's it for that one. We good with this here? Here, SQR is 47. So since it's an angle bisector, PQS is 47. They have the same measure because, again, an angle bisector cuts the angle in half. It cuts it exactly in half. Questions on this here? PQR, the whole angle would be 94 degrees because we add the two together, or you can multiply one of them by 2. Either way works. Questions on this here? I have a feeling we're good with this one here because, again, PQR, 102 and 51. Find the angle measured and classify the angle. So how many answers should I have for each one of these here? 2. I should have 2 answers for each of these here. MXN. M, so I'm starting here, X, N. So I'm going from here to here. So we can count 10, 20, 30. And again, this will show up on the test. If you put 30 degrees, you only get it half right. You only get this half right if you put 30 degrees. Because it said to what? 30 degrees is what? It's an acute angle. It's 30 degrees and it's acute because it's less than 90. NXP. NXP. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 70 degrees. And this would be acute because it's still what? Less than 90 degrees. Last one, O, X, Q, yes? If I go this direction, the inside, doesn't that number just tell me? Or we can count, and if we count it up, we get to 100 degrees, which is what? Obtuse. Greater than 90 degrees is obtuse. Questions on this here? We ready to move on?
Isn't there only 3 options for this? Acute, right angle, and obtuse?
Acute, right, and obtuse, yep. Because, I mean, we could say a straight line if it's equal to 180, but I'm not going to put one of those on there. Yep, so our first one, 1, 2, 1, 4, 6, 2. -3, 4, -3, 6, -8, 4. Now, there's not going to be actual graphing on it. There will be some, I believe, for area, finding area and whatnot. Find the area of the triangle, each triangle. So the height is 2, and we've got, so -3 to 8 would be 5. So the area of this triangle is 5. No, I wrote 10. But I'm going to call this triangle A. Triangle A would be area is equal to 1/2 the base times the height. And you can type it in 1/2 times 5 times 2, and it'll tell you that it's 5. Because half of 5 is 2.5, and 2.5 times 2 is 5. Here, we're going from 1 to 6, so it's actually, for the other triangle, one half of 5 times 2 actually gives us 5 also. Questions on this here? Yes?
How did, if you get 5 and 2 for the base
I just counted.
Oh, yeah.
Each one of these is 2, so it's going 1. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a half of 1. Or you can use the distance formula between the points. The only ones we wouldn't need is from the hypotenuse, the longest side there. We just need the 2 sides. Okay. Now, this here is a rectangle, or a quadrilateral more specifically, because it has 4 points, so anything that has 4 points is going to have 4 sides. Because it works out the number of vertices and matches up to those there. And we can find the perimeter. Yes? Are there any questions on finding perimeter? Or I think, what is it? We do. But guess what? We're not going to do it because it's not on the test. Either is this one, or that one, or that one. So again, anything on the review sheet will show up on, may or will show up on the test, yes? If it's not on the review sheet, it won't be on the test. Now, just because it's on the review sheet doesn't mean it will be on the test. So the perimeter and area don't show up. 51. So all this thing here to say, name all the angles in the diagram. So what's one of our angles? Angle LPM. Angle LPN. So how many angles do we have here? We have 3, yes? Because LPM, LPN, angle NPM, angle NPL, and that's it. Well, we have 4 because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 different angles here that we can name. So naming it by angle P would not help because we don't know exactly which one of those angles it's talking about. Questions on this here? We are done. So tomorrow is your chapter 1 test, your chapter 1 test. So what can you have on the test or have with you? So you can have a pencil or something to write with, scrap paper, your review sheet, and a calculator. I would leave your Chromebooks in your locker or somewhere else. You can bring them here if you want, but do not pull it out. Even if you're done with the test, don't pull it out, okay? Because if I see you open that Chromebook, especially if you still have the test, I will take the test, I will put a 0 on it, and you're done, okay? And then you better hope you catch me in a good mood when you ask to do the makeup points, okay?